What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Couple Things.
With Shawn and Andrew.
Today's podcast might be interesting because my brain is mush.
Shawn was in New York for the last 2 days doing 2 full days of podcasts. That's a lot of talking, honestly.
A lot of just deep thoughts.
I can't talk that much. I applaud you for being able to talk that much.
Thanks. I don't really. Today's episode, though, we're going to talk about success and what it means to you, us.
I'm excited about this one because last night I'm in this men's group with a bunch of older guys, and this was one of the topics of discussion that really sent us on this hour-and-a-half exploration of like, man, what is success? How do you feel successful? And those are kind of two different things. And so we've scripted this out for you. And I think getting Shawn's perspective on something like this is always so fun for me to hear, just because she's accomplished so many people's dreams in so many different arenas. Like, you've done all the things.
So have you.
No, I know. We're both, we've all, honestly, everyone here has accomplished amazing things. If you're listening.
Yes.
Like, that is just true. And part of what I'm trying to inspire in people is recognizing, like, what you've done is awesome. What you've done is awesome. What you've done is awesome. But like, since you've done the extreme cases that are most likely in the public eye, I just always think your take is super valuable. So thank you for sharing that.
Thank you.
We do want to start with a comment of the day.
Okay.
This one's from Brooke8997. She says, Shawn and Andrew, thank you both so much for being open and sharing your lives and experiences with us. We love to hear it and learn through your experiences. Can't wait to see what the new year brings your family. Also, Shawn, you look absolutely amazing. We see the hard work you put into yourself, and you look great before, but you also look great now. Much love.
Thank you.
Thank you, Brooke.
Thank you. Very kind.
Yeah. I guess we could give a spring break update.
Yeah. There's been a lot going on. Andrew and I took a solo trip, you and I, for 2 nights, 3 days. It was work, but play. We went to Zell, Punta Cana. Rafael Nadal opened up this new resort, which was incredible.
We got to meet this guy. We got to meet Rafa.
He's incredible. Yeah.
Tennis player, for those that don't know.
Andy Roddick was there. It was a lot of fun. So we got to have like this little getaway, which was incredible. We came home for literally a day, and then we packed up the kids, and we flew to very last minute impromptu spring break in Cancun, Playa Mujeres. I don't know how to say that. At the SLS, which was absolutely beautiful and stunning. The kids were begging to go to the beach. We didn't have anything planned, and we were like, you know what? Let's just do it.
So I want to demystify this too, because it sounds really exotic, taking the kids to Cancun. And you're like, wow. I will say, we stressed out about getting the kids' passports last spring in preparation for the Olympics, because we were all going to go to the Paris Olympics so that we could be with Shawn as she like worked and did her boss stuff.
Okay.
But so we already had the passports, so that was fine. And then Nashville has a direct flight to Cancun. So it was like,
I had no idea.
Yeah. So it was like 2 hours. Boom. We're in Cancun.
Southwest.
You're like, okay, here we go. So
we might go to Cancun more often.
I want people to hear this and say, okay, that sounds really overwhelming or like wild. And for us, it was like, we're just trying to demystify that and also just realize that, man, we can do this.
And one of the only reasons we went to Cancun was because we saw that they had a direct flight and it was 2 hours. We weren't going to be going anywhere, for a long trip.
Right. Still got Bear as a lap child, just clutch.
But I will say, Cancun, I thought was a solid place for kids. So many kids.
I agree. We did all-inclusive resort, which I honestly don't fully understand how those work. To be like, it sounds so simple, but you're like, wait, there's like premium
I think all-inclusive is great when you have kids. I wouldn't choose to go to an all-inclusive if it's you and I.
Interesting.
Because
some people love them.
I know, but all-inclusive, you don't really have the option to have like a fine dining dinner and then just go have like an easy breakfast. It's all kind of within the same.
Yeah. But we had some delicious food.
We did. Gosh. It was incredible.
And then we got back, and Shawn went to New York the next day.
Literally the next day.
And then
for 2 days.
we have a really fun couple of weeks. I think we are in my mind, I am in travel mode engaged. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, because we have so much travel.
This isn't just coast and chill at home. This is like, all right, we're gotta maximize it.
I will say we're trying really hard with our travel. We have like we're playing with like some new rules and ideas of if it's a work trip, only one parent will go. if like that's allowed, and we'll make it as short as humanly possible. So like this trip that I had, I basically left at 8 a.m. and got back at 8 p.m. Andrew and I are going to be hosting a Make-A-Wish gala next week. We're not going to be gone for even 24 hours. And then I have my first
Board meeting
for Children's Miracle Network at Disney World.
And then buckle up, guys.
We're coupling that though with a trip with the kids.
Disney.
Yeah. Buckle up for.
Well, we have some news we cannot tell you yet, but it's going to be fun.
Oh gosh.
Actually,
we're going to have a lot to talk about.
Yeah. Anyway, more to come.
I can't talk about it.
More to come. Today, we wanted to touch on success because I think inevitably with the platform that you have, that I have as a derivative of you, people are like, wow, that's successful. And you're kind of cherry picking, I feel like, is what people do. Oh, she's successful because she has Instagram followers. She's successful because she drives a nice car. She's successful because of her job title. And it's like, I think we hopefully don't spark envy in anyone, but like people naturally view you as a successful woman, which is awesome. And there's so many benefits of that. And I think it's necessary.
And they see you as a successful man.
Thank you. But today we wanted to jump into the topic of success because I think our definition of success is different than the world's definition of success, and how they can actually mutually benefit each other is actually kind of interesting.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, we've both had our fair share of successes, as you said. But anyway, our view of it might not be what you expect. So let's dive into this.
Can I give you a very random thought real quick?
Please hit me.
That has nothing to do with this.
Yeah.
But I just need you to know. And I think you guys might get a chuckle out of it or just be absolutely disgusted. If I seem a little preoccupied mentally, you want to know why?
Yes.
So this morning I thought I would be a really great wife, and I would run to the grocery store. I would pick up groceries, and I'd come home and I would make us a roast.
Yeah.
And I did. And I prepped it. And do you know how you make a roast? You have to you massage in the salt and pepper onto the roast, and then you sear it. Okay. Well, as this process was happening, I kind of finished putting it together, and you texted me and you were like, "What's your ETA? We have a call in 3 minutes."
Which was on the calendar.
It was on the calendar.
Yeah.
But you see, I was trying to overachieve.
Yeah.
So I sprinted back to our bedroom to put on some makeup and some face lotion and stuff, and then jumped in the car and got here. And it wasn't until we sat down to do this interview that I realized I forgot to wash my hands.
Okay.
After massaging a massive raw piece of chuck roast.
Okay.
And I keep smelling it, and it's because it's all over my face.
Give me a smell. Oh, it's nice.
And so I
smells like
am
vacation.
very disgusted, and I'm afraid my face is going to fall off with bacteria.
Huh.
So let's jump into success.
Okay, great. Thank you for that. Appreciate that. I'm excited for the roast and appreciate the effort you did to make it happen.
Yeah.
The dictionary definition of success, according to Oxford Dictionary, is the accomplishment of an aim or purpose, the opposite of failure. Success is a relative term that means something different to everyone. What one person may consider to be success may look entirely different than success to someone else. The accomplishment of an aim or purpose. So
yeah.
What's the aim and what's the purpose? And that defines the success.
I don't like the opposite of failure, like the first part.
Worldly success is usually measured in things like fame or income or job status or marital status or material possessions. But when you find your worth in these things, you don't actually usually end up happy. Why is that? Because are those things an aim or an end goal in and of themselves? No.
You can make
they're
them
not.
That. You can make them that.
Yes, you can. But does that make... All right, let's talk semantics here. Success versus a feeling of joy or meaning.
I think there's a difference between success and fulfillment.
Okay.
I think you can find success and fulfillment at the same time, which is amazing. But I think you can also find success and be void of fulfillment.
And you can also find fulfillment and be void of success?
I don't think so, because I think then if you find fulfillment, you have success.
Interesting.
But the definition of it is probably different people. Does that make sense?
Interesting. I would say finding fulfillment allows you to achieve success in a way you otherwise wouldn't be able to because you're less desperate. There's less of a, like, I need this, which when you're able to navigate more loosely like that in life, I think it's like that the way that conversation goes with the investor or the business partner looks way different than if you're desperate. Like, I need this, I need it, I need it. And, if you're just like, hey, I'm saying this out of a place of fulfillment and abundance, people say.
I disagree.
Okay, hit me.
I disagree. I think, oh my gosh, there's too much here. Because your worth, if it is in a success, you will not feel fulfilled.
Okay.
I think this probably goes back to our religion, which is, I think it's hard for me to talk about this without talking about religion, because let me just skip ahead and circle back so it'll make sense. Our first prompt says, like, what did you think success meant as a kid? My entire life, from like 3 to 16, my dream was to be an Olympic gold medalist. Coupled with, over the years, and reinforced by the world saying, if you get that, that is the epitome of success. There's no greater thing in the world than like achieving and holding an Olympic gold medal. Like, that is it. You will be not only fulfilled, like you will sit on top of the world. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
So I had the whole world telling me this. So it kind of reinforced it. Fast forward, not to like belittle a gold medal, but I'm standing on the podium with a gold medal. And I literally had the thought, like, is this it? Is this the epitome of fulfillment I will ever feel in my life? Because this is what I've been told. And it felt so small. And I think it's because if you put your worth in a material item or a milestone or a success point or a title, or did I say material item already? It's fleeting. Because in that moment, I was like, this is cool. But if this is the greatest I'm ever going to feel in my life, crap. Like, what do I do now? I can't win an Olympic gold medal every day of my life.
I'm trying to balance this. I hear what you're saying. It's interesting. I'm trying to balance this with the idea that I think people need to celebrate more,
Mm-hmm.
because like the world celebrates fame or they celebrate the gold medal, right? Which I actually think is a good thing, mostly, as long as they're celebrating it because of the right reasons. I would say celebrating the gold medal because it's the conclusion of a journey is a good thing. Celebrating a gold medal because it is an award for like you displaying excellence, I think is a good thing. But if it's like, hey, you did it because you're better than them, or you did it because you needed it, or you did it because we needed this from you, then that gets a little hairy. But it's a fine line.
But here's where I think my argument comes in, which is standing on the podium at a competition that has been deemed like the epitome of success by other people. If I were to have removed those voices, there were times back in the gym when I was 10, 12, 6, where I had been working relentlessly to like learn a new skill. And the very first time I ever landed that skill, it was pretty much equivalent to how I felt on the podium at the Olympics. But the world didn't deem that small skill successful. They deemed the Olympic success. And what I'm saying is the worldly success is often like a wrong measure. Because you can feel success and fulfillment in such tiny, small things day in and day out that the world could literally care less about.
So you're saying it's not bad. It's just oftentimes over-exaggerated and misplaced.
Yes, and you shouldn't diminish those times when you feel like you have achieved success, and it might just be in something that the world doesn't care about, and that is totally fine.
Mm.
I think when you achieve success that the world defines as success, you can feel very unfulfilled because it might mean nothing to you. But you can also achieve personal success in something that the world doesn't deem as cool, and it feel so monumental and huge to you. And I think that is what we as a world and society don't do a good job of like promoting and celebrating.
Has your definition of success changed since you were a kid?
Yeah, massively.
What did you used to think was successful?
Everything we listed: fame, income, job status.
And what do you think is successful now that you've achieved so many of those things?
I don't think any of those things make you happy or make you feel fulfilled.
What about successful though?
I think it to the world makes me successful, but it doesn't feel successful to me. Like times where I felt successful. When I got my Vanderbilt application, I felt immensely successful because I valued education.
Mm-hmm.
When I had our first baby, I felt really successful because I valued family. I felt immensely successful when I qualified to the elite level. That was probably my Olympic gold medal in my entire gymnastics career. I have never in my life felt more proud of what I had accomplished and like I had done it than that moment in my gymnastics career.
I'm not trying to get too philosophical, but it's fascinating because like, all right, so we talk about these treasures God's given us with our kids.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of how we view passions or like, occupations or jobs with the kids is how we're kind of talking about it. Like God's given you a treasure. And so one of Shawn's was gymnastics, speaking. And so those things are all the treasures you've been given. Some of those align with the worldly definitions and there's a correlation there, but it's not always if this, then that. So like you're saying, like a application to a school is an example where it was a treasure of yours, not necessarily acclaimed by the world.
Mm-hmm.
So not directly correlated in that sense, but the elite, like achieving in gymnastics was something that you wanted and the world wanted, right? Or the world acclaims. The gold medal that you won and talk about is something that the world wanted or acclaimed, but you didn't feel like that was actually a treasure of yours because it wasn't your best performance as you've talked about.
Yeah.
Am I saying that right? I just walked through 3 different iterations there.
Yes, this is very...
It's philosophical now.
It is.
We're in uncharted territory.
This is why I told Andrew my brain might not be good enough for a philosophical debate today. I just think the world puts such an emphasis on success. Success defined as money, titles, status. And I think rather than putting an emphasis on success in that sense, we should be putting an emphasis on fulfillment. And I think back to, I used to tour college campuses and give speeches to college kids and told them the story of like the gold medal, how I reached worldly success. And I didn't feel fulfilled. I felt more fulfilled when I got my acceptance letter. And I think we spend so much time and so much of our lives chasing what the world will approve of, only to maybe sometimes achieve it and be like, what the frick? What do I do now? Like that doesn't feel good. Now I actually have to go find something that feels good and feels fulfilling and feels meaningful to my life. And I think what I used to tell college kids all the time was, you've been sent to college and put on some sort of path, majority of the time inspired or encouraged by someone else. So become a lawyer, become a doctor, find a field that pays well, like get your straight A's, get whatever it is. And I can tell you from experience that like you can go down that route, but if it's truly not like your passion and what makes you feel fulfilled, even if you find success in it, you won't be happy, which I know you hate that word. You won't feel purposeful.
If you're looking to wake up refreshed and ready for the day, which who isn't, you need to be sleeping on the right pillow. And thanks to Lagoon, they make it easy to find the right pillow that's right for you with their simple 2-minute sleep quiz.
And all moms out there, I know you can agree, sleep is everything. I am a side sleeper and constantly tossed and turned at night to get comfortable. But now that I've been matched with Lagoon's Otter Pillow, my sleep has been so much better. Lagoon pillows are adjustable, which I didn't even know was a thing until I tried it. You can remove some of the fill to make it the perfect height for your neck and spine alignment, which makes it a huge difference. Not to mention, the pillow has a cooling technology, which is a dream.
Research has shown that athletes who are sleep deprived tend to get exhausted 11% sooner than those who slept well, and endurance athletes who sleep for under 7 hours a night are 50% more likely to get injured over only a 2-week period. That number increases to 70% in adolescents who aren't getting proper sleep. Good sleep is key, you guys.
You need to try a Lagoon pillow for yourself. It's truly worth it. Go to lagoonsleep.com/EastFam and take their quick 2-minute sleep quiz to find your pillow match. And use the code EastFam for 15% off your first purchase.
I'm imagining a Venn diagram, the 2 circles, right? And there's overlap somewhere in the middle.
There is.
And the fame and the money and all of these, the title, are not bad.
No.
Right? Nor are they good.
Does it unlock more opportunities? Yes.
And it can come as a result of fulfillment, but it's not always overlap. So like in the one circle, it's fulfillment and meaning, or the treasures that we were talking about, I think. And then the other, it's like all these fruits of that, or like the outcomes of that, meaning how many people follow you, how big is your house, how much money, whatever, what title is yours. And there can be an overlap, but you should pursue the fulfillment side of things.
Yes.
And that might lead to some of these things. Maybe it does, maybe it doesn't, but you should not just pursue the success part of it in hopes that will lead to fulfillment and that overlap with the Venn diagram.
Because the worldly description of success, so fame, title, status, take any one of those and give it to a person who has none of it. Just like give it straight out. It will not make you happier. It will not fix your problems. It will not make you have more value. It will not make, like, just having that doesn't change anything. You literally have to have and have to find fulfillment in something. And if you don't have fulfillment along with fame, money, material, status, whatever, then you are literally where you were when you began. If not worse, because now you should be happy, but you aren't.
Well said. That was good. I think I repositioned mine.
I'm not sure what I said, but I just stand by. There are so many people along every generation of history who have said money will not make you happy. Titles will not bring you, fulfill.
But a meaningful job can. And a meaningful job can bring with it you feeling fulfilled in your job, guarantees that you'll feel fulfilled.
Yes.
And it might bring money.
Yeah. But if you're fulfilled with it, you might not feel the need for money. That's what I'm saying. Like,
and it might be the only appropriate, healthy way to navigate money, like a life with money too.
I agree. But what I'm saying is, like, once you reach a fulfillment in something, which is finding a passion and running with it, you will redefine what success looks like. Because if you truly find a job or a partner or a title that brings you like true like joy in your life, then you will find yourself in a position where you're like, I don't need more money. I don't need more fame. I don't need more followers, because that won't matter.
Yeah.
But if you have a void in your heart towards fulfillment, you will think by the world's definitions that a little bit more money or a higher status or a few more followers will fix that problem, and it won't.
So putting a definition to what your goal is or your passion is, I think is really important too, based off what you just said. And I'm thinking of one small example that I just recently had a revelation with, or like saw differently. We're talking with Christian Huff and Sadie Robertson, talking podcasts, and she was like, "What's your goal with your podcast?"
Mm-hmm.
And it used to be
Mm-hmm.
make it as big as possible, meaning have the most views and downloads and whatever, just like vague, ambiguous more,
Mm-hmm.
right? But what I realized over the last 12 months and how I answered the question is like, actually, our goal with the show is for Shawn and I to have really fun conversations we otherwise
Mm-hmm.
wouldn't have, and to be able to meet other people that we otherwise wouldn't meet.
Mm-hmm.
And that honestly was always kind of how I enjoyed the show most. And explicitly stating that was like really refreshing, and it felt right.
Mm-hmm.
Like that is what my main purpose is.
Mm-hmm.
And it's also way more attainable. It's like, okay, sweet. Let's have some people on we hadn't otherwise known, and let's talk about things we otherwise wouldn't talk about. And so it then allows us to do more of that thing. And I just go back to, we talk about goals all the time, or the vision, and like this is part of it where it's like it's a little bit of defining enough, which means you define success, which means you're almost able to achieve it more because you know what that thing is. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? A bigger podcast is like unending. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
But I am curious too. You said your definition of success changed, or changes is what you said. What are the points in your life where your definition of success has changed? Yeah.
I think one of the hardest things for me was looking past the Olympics, standing on that podium and being like, what the frick do I do now? Because the way I calculated it is like there was nothing I could do to be on par with what I just accomplished, right? If that was the epitome, then anything else I did was a step down, which felt like a world failure, no matter how I swung it.
Mm-hmm.
But it was cool, and I had to live with that for a while. I had to figure that out for a decent amount of time before I could
Years. Yeah.
trying to figure out what that meant. But like seeing Drew smile for the first time felt like such a bigger moment than the Olympics will ever be. And buying our first house.
Because it was like a reflection on where we were in like our
where we were in our relationship.
And really with the community.
Yeah.
Too.
It was just, I think up until the Olympics, I defined success as material items, monetary, status. After the Olympics, since I knew I couldn't achieve that again, I learned how much more beautiful, fulfilling success was. Does that make sense?
So the three moments you mentioned are after you got a gold medal and achieved success. You achieved service level success, and you realize there's a deeper success, meaning the fulfillment. So there's like, you achieved level 1 success, which then pushed you towards trying to think about what level 2 success looks like. Having kids change that for you. That's almost like a legacy type change, it seems like, or whole identity change. And then, yeah, I think the house represents the community. Like, so plugging into looking outwards, outside of yourself in many ways, which kids do that too. But yeah. That's good. That's good. Do you feel like you chase other people's definitions of success still?
Yeah, I think we all do. I think we get lost doing it. I think we live in our world where every day social media pushes fame, title, success, all of those things and their definition. And I think having millions of voices kind of feed into that can distract us easily. I think about how many times we've taken a step back from our jobs and reflected on what we post on YouTube and what we're doing and how we're, our philosophy on how we partner with companies. And I feel like we kind of steer off of our line every once in a while and say, you know what, this feels icky. We're not chasing it for fulfillment right now. We're chasing it for money. We're chasing it for greed and title and to gain more followers. And that doesn't feel good. Let's get back on track. And it's like, whenever we get back on track, we start vibing again and we feel good about it.
Feels different. It feels different.
It feels different. It feels like a success you're proud of. And when you're proud of your success, it's that self-fulfilling prophecy. It's like you want to pour more into it and you want to work harder at it. And because you work harder at it, you gain more success with it. Whatever that looks like, that might not be more money, but that usually brings more fulfillment because you're doing more of what you love. And I think for me right now, that's pouring into our kids and that's seeing them try new sports and new hobbies and start lighting up with their personality. And that looks like conquering sourdough for the first time. And it's like small things that are beautiful to you that make you feel fulfilled. And at the end of the day, it aligns with like our goals that we've done annually. Like this year, if I start cooking more, if I make sourdough, if I pour into my children and pour into my husband, I will feel successful. Now, none of that brings in more money or helps my job title status or brings more material items. So like worldly success, that is truly personal success. And that means more than what the world would define.
Because that's part of your DNA, like your desires to want to do all those things. And that's,
I think so.
yeah. And so what that looks like for you is going to be totally different than the neighbor or
And as
whoever
it
else
should
listening.
be.
Yeah, 100%.
Every single person in this entire world was created differently for a reason. And I don't think if we aren't tapping into the God-given unique passions and desires and talents we have been born with, and we are not doing ourselves justice. If we are just feeding into this whole wheel of what the world thinks we should do, that's not a fun and happy life. Let's talk about a game changer. Electrolytes. If you've ever hit that midday slump with headaches, brain fog, feeling wiped out, the culprit could be an electrolyte deficiency. Since I started adding electrolytes to my daily routine, my energy levels have been through the roof.
Absolutely. I especially feel it after workout. And our go-to for electrolytes is LMNT. What I love is that their stick packs give you all the electrolytes you need without any sugar, artificial colors, or weird additives.
Honestly, electrolytes should be a part of everyone's daily routine. I didn't realize that just drinking water wasn't enough to hydrate me, but I was constantly feeling like I was dragging around like that 2 p.m. mark and couldn't figure out why. Until I started adding in electrolytes and felt so much better.
And that's why LMNT is trusted by everyone from professional athletes and sports teams to Navy SEALs and neuroscientists. These people know how to stay hydrated and they rely on LMNT for a reason.
Get your free LMNT sample pack with any purchase at drinklmnt.com/EastFam. Also, try the new LMNT Sparkling, which is a bold 16-ounce can of sparkling electrolyte water.
Try LMNT totally risk-free. If you don't like it, they'll refund your order, no questions asked. I used to say this all the time in regards to social media, and I actually have been resurfacing this idea because of AI, but it's like, I really do believe that everyone has a story to tell that no one else can tell.
Yes.
And everyone has something to say that they need to say because no one has your set of interests with your backstory, with your ambitions. You know what I'm saying? Like, and that's important because there's so many different inputs that make you, you, and there's so many different places you're trying to go with those.
Mm-hmm.
That social media needs it, or like there's a community that could benefit from hearing that. And also AI could never replicate that. There's like, people talk about AI agents and they're meant to do one thing and they're programmed with certain amounts of inputs to do that one thing. It's like you were placed with so many different inputs with so many potential unknown outcomes that it's like, wow, it's alchemy with what happens. What do you apply that to? There's a million different ways you could go. Which one are you going to choose? Kind of really exciting.
But I also think at the end of the day, you can be the most famous person in the world and be fulfilled by that.
100%. I agree.
And I also think you could be the most unknown person in the world and be fulfilled by that.
I agree.
I think it's different for everyone. And I think that should be okay. I don't think there's like one definition of success.
Yes. Which the world tries to shove it into fame, money, whatever.
Yes.
And then also some people try to say that fame, money, and whatever are bad, which I also don't agree with.
No.
This was the question that we were trying to answer as a group of men last night. Does God bless people who pursue him in their profession? Like, does God extra bless that profession? If I pray to God, will we win the football game? Does he like allow that kind of vibe?
And our answer was?
Ultimately, yes. In the sense.
In a different way.
In the sense that he allows you to think about what being blessed means in a different way. It's an alternate reality. It's a parallel universe. It is a different definition. And so it's like, I can feel blessed when I have nothing. I can feel blessed when I have everything. Both are a choice.
Yeah. I don't think God outwardly like.
No, I don't think he
lets you win more football games because you're a follower of him. Right. No. But I do think being a follower of him allows you to feel more peace, more fulfillment, more joy in any circumstance in life, which will ultimately make you feel more successful.
So is success a choice? Is feeling successful a choice?
I think so.
I think so too.
And I think people who don't believe that are ones who will never be successful.
Yes. And I think that people who do think that feeling success is a choice are more likely
to have worldly success.
Yes.
Because they don't care about it. In the sense of like, it's not going to cure their problems.
Yes.
But if you don't believe success is a choice, and if you happen upon worldly success, it's not going to make you feel any different.
Yeah, nor should it.
No.
All right, so how do you stay grounded and remind yourself what truly matters in life? What's truly, like, we're big on daily routines, and we have all these weekly rhythms and monthly habits that we have shared before. You know, the daily disciplines of doing the things that you love to do or that you feel like need to be done. It is like in your arena to help bring order to that chaos, whether that means working out in the morning and bringing order to the chaos that is human health, or going to work and bringing order to the chaos that is your industry, whatever that means. Like doing that no matter what the outcome is or no matter what the context is.
Mm-hmm.
That's how you stay grounded. It's like you stay focused on the thing that you need to do and you keep doing it. It's not you're doing it because you got the money and then you get the money, you stop doing it. That's ungrounded. That's my thought. Anyway.
Okay, guys, if you've been following along, you know Andrew and I launched Beam Kids, and it has been such a meaningful project to work on together. Beam Kids, if you didn't know, is a simple way to pack over 40 essential nutrients into one super delicious drink for your kids that tastes like chocolate milk.
Let me say that again. 40 essential nutrients
yes.
in a delicious chocolate milk flavor. It really is tasty. No more trying to bribe your kids to finish all their broccoli so you can sleep at night knowing they got some vitamins. With Beam Kids, you get everything they need. Greens, probiotics, fruits, vitamins, all in one. And the best part is that even the pickiest eaters are hooked. It's a game changer for both the kids and the parents.
Truly is. Trust us, we get how tough it is to find the right supplement. Before this, our kids were eating way too many sugary gummies, but now we just mix 1 scoop of Beam Kids with water or milk, shake it up, and they're good to go, thinking they're drinking a treat while getting all of those nutrients.
Beam Kids is now available online at shopbeam.com/couplethings. And because you're a listener to our show, you can take advantage of our deal of up to 40% off plus 2 free gifts using code couplethings.
That's shopbeam.com/couplethings and use code couplethings for up to 40% off.
Anyway, that was a good topic, babe.
I like this conversation.
Couple of books that we have read that helped frame our perspective on this. Ruthless Elimination of Hurry. Really,
Amen.
really altered our productivity mindset. To Hell with the Hustle by Jefferson Bethke. Another interesting one. Margin is a book that we read that comes to mind. There's a lot. We'll hopefully make a list and put in the newsletter. But anyway, thank you guys for listening. Would love to hear your input on this. Do you agree, disagree? What's your definition of success?
I'll be curious to see what the comments are.
Yeah.
Please give us your thoughts.
I honestly love topics like this where it's there's no right answer. It's all philosophical. And it's
Maybe we should do a podcast responding
to people's definition of
Yeah.
success. Yeah. Anyway, this is fun. If you made it this far, subscribe to the show, give it a rating, and we'll see you next time. I'm Andrew.
I'm Shawn.